Hello everybody, welcome back to the game table. Well, I am actually at a different table today. This is, you can't see the place where I'm at, but this is where I do a lot of the tabletop miniature games. This is where I normally film board games at. That currently has another board game, so I was like, well, let's just change venue. So this is like old school presentation style, so hopefully you won't have any problems seeing anything. With that in mind, let's take a look. This is Battle of the Bulge. This is a Compass Games release. This is what I paid for. I was rather excited. I'm very picky lately on what games I buy because I've got a lot. So I have to really think about, is it where I want, where I want to put my money. At the same time, it's like, well, yeah, I'm like most people, I'm a collector of games. But let me tell you why I thought this one. Well, one, it's designed by John Butterfield. I only have one John Butterfield game, and that's D-Day at Tarawa. And some people even debate if that's truly, well, I say some people because I went onto a forum and there was someone in a forum that was like, well, is it really John Butterfield because Joe Yost also did some of the writing of rules? So yeah, I got a John Butterfield game, but I really couldn't figure it out. It's really complicated. I don't have time to I have very short attention span, in case you don't know. So a game that I can't just sit down and get played and figured out in like an hour or two usually gets pushed aside for me. So I have it. So when I was looking at this, I said, hey, cool. It's a John Butterfield game, and it was based on a board game idea that was turned into a computer game, board game version. And so that's been out for a while, and it's got Race to Moscow, and I guess they decided to actually make it a board game. Okay, so why this over, say, D-Day at Tarawa? Well, a couple of reasons. On the back and description on the website was some of the stuff here. Low complexity. I'm okay with that. Since I play most games solo, or my playing partner is usually my 16-year-old son, we're not into complex games because he gets bored super easier than I do. He's definitely a video game kid and likes miniatures, so it's really hard sometimes to get him into a game if there's complexity. Two-player, well, the time here says it's 1 day. Okay, that's fine. The map scale, it says here that it's roughly 15 miles for the hex. Oh, the time is 1 day time. Then it says here, unit scale, we're playing with divisions. Okay, that's great for the game, but number of players, 2. Okay, cool. If I need my son to play, he might play this if it's low complexity and easy to do. But in case he doesn't, it does say suitability for solitaire is high. And I think that comes from John Butterfield because he's known for making really good solitaire-friendly games. So I'm hoping that's the case with this. And then it says average play time 1 to 3 hours. Great. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Because again, I got kids at home. It's really hard for me sometimes to find the time to set up a game. That if it says that it is a minimum of like 3 hours, then I know it's going to take more time for me because I've got obligations at home still. So I can't just play for 3 or 4 hours, or we need a table space for something, or the reason. So I'm hoping that based on these criteria that I've read, I can set this up quickly, and because of the low complexity rules, I can get playing right away. And if I need to, I can involve my son because he won't be turned off by the boring simulation aspects. So I'm hoping this is going to be the game for us. Plus, I've also read, first thing on the components, mounted map. That right there probably is the thing that sold it for me. Paper maps are great, but I still have a very strong affinity and fondness for mounted maps. So what else is in here? It says it's got 2 sheets of counters, the rule book, a German order of battle display, Allied order of battle display, 2 tactical player aid cards, 50 activation cubes, 40 wooden control discs, 10-sided dice, and a box and lid set. Okay, well, box and lid. I don't know how I feel yet about having wooden cubes and wooden control discs. I think it'll be fine. It's just another aspect of the game. Most of my counter games don't include cubes and discs. I think the only one that had like cubes and discs was Fighting Formations, because that had like some cubes for their activation trackers. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. But let's rip it open and see what we get. I know some people enjoy watching the plastic come off. Some think that's unnecessary, but you know, I'll just rip the plastic off for you. And there's the box cover. Good design. And let's open it up. Now, this is going to be a new series because it's World War II Commander Volume 1. My guess is if they follow the release of the computer games, and I think there was only 2 of them, the next one would be Race to Moscow. So let's see what we get here. Here's your discs and your cubes. And I would open the bag, but this is actually pretty easy to see what exactly is in here. And yeah, I've got a bunch of gray discs. They do appear, they're double-sided. They have a German symbol on both. So this could very well represent hidden units, things like that. So I'm guessing if you play the single-player game, maybe you play single-player from the Allied perspective. So that was just an initial guess, no idea. But there you go, discs, cubes. And your 10-sided dice. This is actually nice. It's a fair amount. You've got 2, 4, 7 10-sided dice. All right, that's great. We have a lot of plastic baggies for storing your counters, which is much appreciated. I've been using storage trays for a long time. I've just run out, and so for a while I was just moving a game from storage tray to plastic baggies, and the new game would go in the storage tray. But instead of spending a whole lot of money on storage trays, I'm finding that, you know what, sometimes plastic baggies work just fine. And the fact that they've included some is great, because otherwise I've just been storing everything in sandwich bags. So thanks for the plastic baggies. Then we have a catalog, which I will go through later. There's a whole lot of text on this one on the back. Oh wow, it's actually like a huge poster, so I will unfold that and look at it later. So Compass has been coming out with a lot of games lately. So let's set that aside. That'll be something to look at. Here we have one player sequence example, which I don't remember that being listed on the, or maybe I did read it on the box, but I don't remember reading a player example, but that's cool. So we have a nice player example. I'll just set that to the side. Here's your rule book. What I am going to do is move the box over here and then just pull the components out so I can open them up. Okay, this is a nice feeling book. This has got semi-gloss paper, so I'm seeing full color. Great pictures. Text looks easy to read. It's a pretty good size, so I like that. Good picture of the map. There's your order of battle cards. Nothing too complicated. So you've got your component descriptions there. Start of day activity. So it looks like a nice little sequence of play examples. Special rules for German. Surprise turn and December 16. Space control. All right. And again, I like nice color examples here. Looks good, actually. So this is a pretty nice looking rule book. It's just a rule book, but at least it looks pretty good. And then what we got back here. So comprehensive combat example. Wonderful. And there is your rule book. And here is your counter sheet manifest right there. So you know what you've got. And that was another thing I thought was nice about this. It did not look counter dense. I know some Battle of the Bulge games comes with lots of counters because there were lots of units involved. So this appears to be less simulation-y and more of a study. I don't know. I use that term as in this lets you play the Battle of the Bulge, but without the thousands of counters to simulate, you know, every single unit involved. I can't tell you exactly how generic the units are. I mean, I see that they're named, so it doesn't simply just say tank. So it's got the division by name. I just don't know how comprehensive the order of battle list is, because I've seen some games that include a lot more counters than what we have here. But this is good because, again, I'm trying to think of what would my son be interested in. And this is the kind of thing he's interested in, is low counter density, something that we can quickly get to the board and play. So looks good so far. It's meeting my criteria for some kind of operational level game. Then we have here sequence of play, so some player aid cards. And there are 2 of them. Battle of the Bulge, out of supply, and fuel shortage effects. All right. Now I'm not going to go over every single section, but what we have, just contents here. So here's the second player aid card. So they are double-sided and they are color, and it feels pretty good. It's not just thick paper, it's thicker paper, but it's just a player aid card. But at least it's kind of got a laminated finish on it, so I wouldn't say spill your soda on it, but it should hold up to handling. What do we got here? Okay, here's the order of battle, and this is single-sided. Yeah, so this is good. Like I said, it looks like low counter density, but we've got here, your initial reinforcements. I'm not sure if this is supposed to cover, how many days this game covers in the battle. Well, we got the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 23rd, 25th. All right, so there's about a week of combat here with the reinforcements. And what's nice is, for me, it's like I see eight counters come in. Yeah, because I've seen some games where, the next day comes and it's just like there's quite a few forces that come in. So if you're looking for something that's low counter density, this looks like a pretty good option. And then there's your American order of battle. Kids are outside playing. I can hear them crying at each other. I better go check on that here in a moment. Let me go check on kids crying. Hold on. And I'm back. Luckily, it wasn't my kid, so we're okay there. I mean, not that it's okay. Kid was crying, but it wasn't my kid. So I can come back here now. So where are we at? Looks like German troops, some supply markers. These are pretty good sized counters too. I'm not sure what size they would call that. It doesn't look like it's quite an inch. Well, hey, look here. I'm on my miniature gaming table. So what do we got here? Yeah, these are 3/4 of an inch, looks like. So 3/4 of an inch counters for both vehicles, infantry divisions. Then you've got some German VP, US hits. I guess I'll learn what that's for. And then we start in, it's got some US units right there. Not bad. These look really good, actually. The artwork is pretty good too. I don't know. I was trying to tell myself that I didn't like the counter art because I'm such a visual person that I was like, well, these are just kind of plain black and white drawings. But I don't know. They kind of have a simplistic appeal to them that I kind of like. Looks like there's not a whole lot of information either. It looks like they got like their division heraldry on there, what division that they're in, and then just a couple of numbers, 2 and a little plus sign and like a 3. So they're not cluttered with a lot of information either. Got a little extra information over here on the tank, so probably like AP value, and then probably like your anti-infantry value, and that 4 could be like their defense value. Of course, without having read the rules, I can't say that for sure, because as I look at some of the numbers, I see some of the same type of tank has got a different value, but I will learn what that is. But I like that. There's not a whole lot of clutter on the counter, so they have a nice appeal to them. I'm okay with that. And then we have the Allied. I say Allied because we do have, looks like we get a few of our British allies on there. And then, of course, the rest of this then is American troops. And then we have a few out of supply, day, time of day, looks like what day we're on, time of day. It does say an hour, so I'm not sure how this tracks specifically, but I'll find that out here as we pull the map out. So, but again, not a high counter density game. Looks great. Looks really good so far. And then we have the map. Now I might not unfold the whole thing and get it on camera, but mounted, great. I am so happy for that. Let me tell you what I think on just the cost effectiveness. I got this from Miniature Market, and I think it was like $55. There's some tax. For 55 bucks, this is like a super good value. And the fact that the map is mounted, the only reason I bring that up is because I have watched some like reviews of different Compass games that are, maybe have a lot more components as well. But one of the things that I read from people in comments that they're very unhappy with, sorry, I'm trying to shift this to get the map under there, is the fact that you're paying out $120 for some games and you get paper maps. And my thought, there's a couple thoughts that you have. Well, there's probably lots of thoughts you can have on that, but there is the school of thought that, yeah, if I'm paying $120, how come I can't get a good quality mounted map? There are war games out there that cost less, that have about the same amount of counters and other components, and they have a mounted map. Well, I am very happy. This is probably the only reason why I decided to get this game, is because I like mounted maps. I know with paper maps you can just lay plastic, then it all lays flat and it's great. But for me, just on a personal note, maybe I've been spoiled because I have very, very few war games that have paper maps. A majority of what I get have mounted maps, and I like it. I was not around during the heyday of like Avalon Hill, but from what I've read, Avalon Hill, the classic war game folks, like all of their games were mounted maps. The early versions of like Advanced Squad Leader had mounted maps. And so when you get into today and you're shelling out the kind of money that you do, I think it's really cool to get a mounted map. Now, that being said, this is a really good looking mounted map as well. So we've got an area kind of point-to-point type of game. This isn't hex driven. And I think the artwork is great. Now this is looking at it upside down. I just happen to unfold it that way. So I'm going to move the camera, moving camera, and just real quickly show you, you've got some information up here. So most of this is the area where you'll be fighting at, and I think that looks fantastic. And then at the very top then, you're just going to have a very small track for things. It's got the day of the battle. Looks like I'll be tracking the day of the battle. A victory point track. A little terrain key so you know what's in these terrain areas. And it just talks about German replacement points and a couple other little pieces of information. And the rest of it's map. This is really good by Joe. Thank you, Joe. Really nice map. I think this will work out pretty good. There's Vith, Baston. All right, those are names I'm very familiar with. So for those that don't know me, I play a lot of World War II type of historical games, but I am not a World War II historian. And so there's a lot of places on here that I've only heard of a few of the names, but you might be saying, but yeah, there's a lot of places on there that are very important. And that's probably true. I am probably more on the casual gamer side of things rather than a historian. And that's mostly because I play so many games. I'm interested in a lot of genres that I haven't dedicated myself to just one. But I will also say this is probably my first real Battle of the Bulge type of game, which is another reason I thought I'd get this, is I really wanted to have a Bulge game. And so something that's of low complexity to get into it. You know, and this could be a gateway to other games. I'm sure the gameplay experience is a lot different than, say, the more simulationist type of games for the Bulge, but I think everybody needs a gateway. And so this could be the gateway that I say, you know what, that was fine, but I'm really looking for more crunch. So very excited to have this as an addition. I'm hoping that pretty soon I can get some gameplay out to you. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people will be doing unboxings and they'll be doing gameplays as well. So I'm hoping I can get some gameplay out for you. But let's put this back in the box. It's interesting. I did read a comment from someone else, another game that someone did an unboxing. And they said the reason they like to watch unboxings is because they like to see how everything fits back in the box. Because sometimes I have had games that you pull out of the box, look at the components, and then they don't fit back in the box. So let's see how this fits back in the box. There's really not much here, so this should fit just fine. So I've got the map, and if I can find it, this is another suggestion that someone said, is if you ever get canned food or different things and they have moisture packs, put the moisture pack. I got a little bit of warpage here, so they said if you put these those anti-moisture packs in your boxes for your games, and that helps to suck out some moisture, that will help keep your boards from warping and bending. I got a little bit of bend here, so I'm going to find that moisture pack and stick it in here. Then your 2 counter sheets. Now, how will this fit after you've got these all bagged up? I think they will bag up just fine because the bags take up a lot less room than a full-on counter tray. So I think once I punch these, separate them, and put them into baggies, this will fit just fine. Because I still have, if you can tell, there's still quite a bit of room here. So if you were doing counter trays, you maybe could fit 2 counter trays in here. If you had one for Germans and then one for the Allies, maybe 2 counter trays would fit because there's not much paperwork to go in here. So you've got your 2 Order of Battle cards, still got plenty of room. You have your 1, looks like a sequence of play card, quick reference sheet is here, and you have the 1 example of play, still got plenty of room. Oh wait, no, this is another one of the charts. This is your example of play, 1 card. And the rule book, I didn't even tell you how many pages. 19 pages. 19 pages of rules. We should be fine. Look at that, I still have quite a bit of room. So this might support maybe 2 counter trays. If not, looks like a couple of baggies and you'll be just fine. And then you got the lid. So all in all, I think I'm ready to learn and get this all set up to play. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching the unboxing. I know it's just a kind of me rambling on, but I'm pretty excited about this. And I hope that I can get some gameplay up. I don't know if it'll be this week or when. I've got some other stuff coming that I'm trying to get into. But yeah, I hope to get some gameplay out to you guys as soon as possible. And then maybe after that a review. I don't know, what do you think? Do you prefer like reviews where I just kind of tell you about the game? Or do you like to see the game being played? I was thinking in my mind, oh, you know what I forgot to stick in here as I look over? I'm not going to worry about putting in the advertisement pamphlet, but I don't want to forget the discs and cubes and the dice. Okay, that might take up a little room. So really hard to say how you fit it in after you put a couple counter trays, what you're going to do with the dice and the cubes. But with the plastic baggies they provided, plenty of room, plenty of room. Where was I? Oh, but me, I was thinking I actually prefer videos of people playing the game versus a review because I like to see how it actually plays. Like I get more out of it because anybody can read. It feels like maybe this is the rant part. It shouldn't be part of an unboxing, so I'll leave that for another time. But just tell me, what do you prefer? Unboxings, reviews, or gameplays? Just out of curiosity. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you all later. And keep gaming.